When you think about the various men and women who have become Hokage, it's kind of hard to imagine a world where Kakashi Hatake does not serve out his full tenure as Hokage, but the truth is that this was almost a case where he was almost killed a few months after the 4th Ninja War, well before the events of Naruto the Last taking place, where Sasuke famously saves Konoha from destruction after Rock Lee and a team of Inner Gates users failed to destroy the meteor headed towards the village. What's more interesting here is that the person who almost kills Kakashi was none other than the 3rd Tsuchikage, in a moment of both miscommunication as well as a moment that shows distrust. Despite the shinobi world having banded together to take down Obito and Madara, this peace treaty, which was still in the infancy stages, still had more than its fair share of kinks to work out, and very early on it could have fallen apart, especially given the circumstances behind all of this. That's why in today's newest Naruto Explained video, I want to talk to you guys about a moment in the timeline where Onoki almost put the green light on Kakashi to have him killed, willing to do the deed himself, regardless as to Kakashi's status as Hokage, which we're going to explore in today's newest edition of After Naruto Shippuden. For those of you guys who are new here to the channel, After Naruto Shippuden is a series where we take a look at the stories and the scenes that are set during the 14-year time skip between Naruto chapter 699 and chapter 700, which in the cases of a lot of these stories, they either weren't fully adapted or in some cases they weren't adapted at all due to the decision to rush right into Boruto Naruto Next Generations. Hence this series is titled After Naruto Shippuden. For this story in particular, it's set several months after the 4th Ninja War has ended, after Kakashi has already released Sasuke from prison, and Naruto, he's gotten his Hashirama Cell arm, but he's still having trouble using it to do things like, say, eat ramen at the ramen shop. In the lead up for this scene, Kakashi and Guy, they are outside of Konoha on an airship similar to the one that we see in Boruto's anime Funato Clan arc, which is transporting wealthy donors and citizens of the Land of Fire from the Land of Waves to demonstrate the benefits to using such a machine for trade instead of relying on people who transport goods and services via boats that you see come out of the Land of Waves, which has caused many people in that country to oppose the development of the airship. Naruto has just stopped a loyal group to Madara, who has carried out a massacre in the Land of Waves, both out of protest for the decision of the Land of Fire to evacuate the medics and resources during the Ninja War, as well as the growing focus on technology and the economic greed that came as a result of this technology expansion, where they believe that all of this proves Madara's will was right, that the infinite Tsukiyomi he placed the world in was the correct decision, that this world is a place that only cares for those who win and not for the losers. And so the remnants of this group, they have taken over the airship that Kakashi and Guy are on, threatening to kill all those on board if their leader is not released and their demands aren't fully met. After Kakashi and Guy fight off a pair of ice release users, with the female being strong enough that she keeps up with Kakashi in taijutsu, and the other one able to fight off base might Guy, who only has one leg and is fighting motion sickness, where he's comedically puking mid-fight and still whooping ass with his nunchucks. The duo managed to get some of the passengers off to safety, but once Kakashi re-enters the airship and begins to game plan with Sai and Ino and Tsunade, Tsunade quickly finds out that things are getting out of hand as the 3rd Tsuchikage misreads the entire situation, taking it as a potential threat to his village. The reason being is that this airship, it directly violates the treaty that the ninja villages signed following the end of the war, where they all agreed to demilitarize as a sign of good faith that the wars between the 5 major nations were truly over. Onoki was of the belief that the airship such as this, which started out for commercial purposes, could have easily been used for war one day. And his apprehension, it is very much in character given everything we've seen with him. There was a lot of bad blood between the Stone and the Leaf Village during the 3rd Ninja War, and he was initially hesitant to join forces with the villages to form an alliance in the 4th Ninja War, and even acknowledged that he'd previously known of the Akatsuki and even hired them as mercenaries In the past, before the Akatsuki went rogue, the Akatsuki allowed people like Onoki to have missions completed that couldn't be traced back to the village that hired them. What we're seeing here is our first sign of Onoki slowly beginning to revert back to his old ways for different reasons, like we saw in the Boruto anime where he willingly broke the treaty to make more weapons of war, albeit he had good reasons and intentions for it, but breaking the treaty nonetheless. This leads us to the scene where Onoki pretty much takes the stance that Kakashi, he's gotta die if it comes to it during his heated exchange with Konoha. The airship that Kakashi is on, that is under the control of these two Ice Release users mentioned earlier, it is headed for the location of the Hidden Stone Village once it passes a certain point, and Onoki rightfully sees this as being a potential attack, and he's gearing up to fly into the sky and vaporize the airship with his particle release jutsu, not caring if Kakashi's the one on there or not. So with the scene and the context finally being set, it's here I'll begin reading the selected scene from the story, and then I'm going to come back to you guys with my thoughts, which for those of you guys who want to read this scene for yourselves, as always, the affiliate link to purchase the story as well as to help support the channel is going to be in the description box. And so it's here I'm going to begin quoting. Shizune grabs Tsunade's arms from behind as she tightened her fist, about to deliver a second blow to Guy's head. Lord Onoki from the Stone Village is on the wireless, Shizune said. Guy breathed a sigh of relief. Guy sketched the faces of our enemies for us, Tsunade ordered before she turned to the wireless setup. What is it, old man? Tsunade said. So no hello then from Princess Tsunade. Well, fine. What's important here is that thing floating in the sky leaving your land, isn't that the airship that the Land of Waves deployed in the utmost secrecy? Onoki asked. Tsunade was at a loss of words. Come now, we too are shinobi. Someone like yourself, Princess Tsunade, couldn't actually hide something like that is that enormous, Onoki said. So you can see it from the land of Earth, Tsunade asked. Not just the land of Earth, the other nations too. They have noticed. They're just pretending they don't see it out of respect for the hero of the 4th Ninja War that they fought alongside, since it seems guarding that ship is Konoha's top secret mission, Onoki said. Tsunade slammed her fist down on the desk. Trying to play both sides, huh? Old man Tsuchikage, I'm busy. Just have it out what you want already, Tsunade roared. Onoki laughed. Ah, my. Young people are so impatient. Well then, I'll speak for myself. A few days earlier, some unfamiliar fellows, they snuck into a village in our country, Rokoku, and they stole large quantities of blue fire powder. As you know, Rokoku is known for its chemists. The powder stolen is several times more dangerous than any explosive tag. What are you trying to say? Tsunade demanded. We tracked it down. That much powder being stolen, it could destroy our entire village. It's stockpiled on that airship bobbing along in the sky, Onoki said. Oh man, the Land of Waves is trying to use that ship to usher in a new era of trade, Tsunade began, but the Tsuchikage's voice started up again. Princess Tsunade, there's always a dark side to any technological advancement. Someone comes up with an anesthetic, and then someone else turns into an addictive drug. Someone makes a cooking knife, then someone else uses it to kill another human. That airship was meant for trade, but what if someone were to use it for aerial warfare? The other ninja villages, they are watching from the sidelines out of respect for our beloved war hero, but also because the ship isn't headed towards their villages, it's headed towards my village. I'm sure you can see the problem here, Onoki said. Having a ship jam-packed with blue firepower headed towards my village, it's not my most favorable feeling. You'll need to do something about that airship, or else if it passes Kusakagare, I will shoot it down myself regardless as to who is on board it. I'm sure you understand my predicament, Onoki said. Nervous tension filled the room. Double dealing, old man. There's no way he's satisfied with just this. He's probably setting up something even as we're speaking, Tsunade thought to herself before hanging up the wireless. End quote. Now, what's interesting here is that Tsunade knows that Kakashi, he's running out of time here. She's trying to give him some wiggle room to handle the situation himself, but the two Ice Release users are demanding their demands be met within 3 minutes, or else they're going to start killing the remaining hostages, and the speed at which the airship is moving, it is going to enter into the airspace of the Hidden Stone Village soon after that, at which point Onoki has already vowed to blow up the airship, fully aware that Kakashi is not the only Konoha shinobi on there. It's to be expected of someone who's lived such a long life, where he remembers the Warring States era. He remembers a young Madoru Uchiha, and he was one of the last Kage to sign on to joining the alliance, both before the war as well as after. His words, they are not incorrect if you think about them. That items that are made for the betterment of mankind, they oftentimes get turned into weapons of war. Drugs that are meant to heal people are often turned into items that can be used on the black market to make people addicts. Even though he himself knows that Konoha isn't behind the airship in terms of having malicious intent, the abuse of something intended for good, coupled with that powder that is strong enough to blow up the entire village, he now has to think about the well-being of his citizens, as well as including answering to the feudal lord of the land of Earth, who has the funds that are supplied to the Hidden Stone Village. And so his hands, they are tied here, and Tsunade knows it, and that makes it so much worse. If Onoki goes through all of this, even with the circumstances themselves, there is going to be pressure that is put for some kind of a response. Even if the treaty that is in place here says they must work together, because Kakashi, he is named Hokage, and he has acted in an official capacity for this role, even though in this part of the timeline, he has not officially had his Hokage ceremony, despite having his face carved onto the Hokage monument and using his power as Hokage to get Sasuke pardoned. The death of someone like that, even under these circumstances, it has Tsunade in a real bind, and the Ice Bleach users, they've already said it. If they see a sign that Naruto Uzumaki is flying through the air towards that ship, they will detonate the airship and they will kill everyone on board. So the press Naruto button in case of emergency, it is off the table. And Sasuke is out wandering currently on his own redemption journey, still a full year from making any type of contact with Konoha because he is off grid. The small details like this, they are why I love this part of the timeline so much, because what we see is the economic expansion and the rise of technology, both the good intentions behind it, but also we see characters like Naruto, who isn't necessarily the smartest person out there, Kakashi, who is a genius, Onoki, who has lived through every era of the modern day shinobi, and even Sasuke, Mr. Gloomy himself. They are all wary of the increase in technology and seeing how it can be abused and make life harder for both the shinobi as well as the civilians that they are protecting. Which, if you're curious about the full story leading to the rise of ninja tech after the 4th Ninja War, you'll want to click here for this in-depth video essay breaking down the journey that you did not see in Naruto Shippuden or Boruto, or you can click over here on the right where we have the new Black Clover chapter review, which if you're a fan of Noel, you're gonna love this chapter. Well worth the 3-month wait.